Hello, I'm Captain Ken, and I'll be your tour guide today. Aquarius is an AMEL Super Maramu 2000. She's 53 foot long with a 15-foot beam. Her main mast stands 60 feet and she draws about 6.5 feet. She's a ketch-rigged sailing vessel built in La Rochelle, France in 1999. About 490 Super Maramus were built between 1989 and 2005, and the hulls remain virtually identical throughout the production. Aquarius is hull number 262. The Millennium Edition, or Super Maramu 2000, was first built in 1998. Though there were some minor upgrades and features, all Super Maramus look almost identical. In 2000, the Super Maramu 2000 was voted Best Boat of the Year by Cruising World. AMEL has produced some of the finest sailing vessels, and each year a high number of AMELs complete a circumnavigation. In 1999, Aquarius, then Aquarius 4, completed her first circumnavigation with the original owners, Jim and Lonnie. Their journey is well documented in a book written by Jean-Pierre Frederick. The book has detailed history about all destinations and hundreds of fabulous photos. So if you speak German, you should pick up a copy. One of the coolest things about owning an AMEL Super Maramu is you're part of a community. Some people call it the AMEL cult, and maybe it is to a degree. That said, if you have a problem with an AMEL, you have a fairly large community to back you up in your time of need. So, come on aboard. Javille and I'd like to show you around and show you some of the unique features aboard Aquarius.
You're on your own now.
Let's first take a look at the cockpit, or the Terrace as Jimp used to call it.
It's time to get ready for lunch. So I will set up the cushions.
The Terrace is where we have most meals aboard Aquarius. Our new cushions, bimini top, and all of our covers aboard Aquarius were made by Sean in Trinidad. Sean is the owner of Superb Sails and Canvas Works. He's located in the Powerboats facility in Trinidad where we were hauled out. Superb Sails and Canvas Works did an amazing job on our cushions, bimini top, and all the covers aboard Aquarius. We've also met a few other AMEL owners that's had work done by Sean, and they were also very impressed with Sean's work. So, if you get to Trinidad and you have any canvas requirements, Sean's your guy. Javilla said I went overboard, but I love my padded winch covers.
So here we have our forward-looking sonar, and what it shows is what's in front of us to about 45 feet and the depth. And you can see that the depth is about 3.3 meters and fairly steady all the way out.
Next, I'd like to show you the bow thruster, which is one of the really cool features on the AMEL Super Maramu. Without a bow thruster, I wouldn't be able to park in a marina, but with a bow thruster, I can make parking look easy. Here we are just leaving Trinidad, where it crews in, and you can see that the boat turns on a dime. This cannot be done without a bow thruster.
To operate the bow thruster, turn the bow thruster on. To drop the bow thruster, you drop the bow thruster with this switch. Make sure it's unlocked and on in the forward cabin before dropping it. So this is the bow thruster on the AMEL Super Maramu. So I'm going to unlock the bow thruster. Turn the bow thruster on. The bow thruster is now ready to operate. You can test it by using the joystick. Bring it up by pushing out the up button till the red light comes on. Turn it off and then off.
Let's take a close look at what moves Aquarius when there's no wind or in tight places.
At our cockpit, we have the engine start. So if you want to start the engine, just start the engine up. Just like any other motor. Rev up in neutral by pulling. And if you want to go forward, you just push it forward.
In the engine room, the first thing you see is the TMD 22 Volvo Penta engine, the Hearth transmission, which is hooked to her, and then the top of the C drive. The autoprop repositions the blades for forward, reverse, and, when sailing, for lowest drag. With no wind and calm seas, Aquarius will move forward at about 6.5 knots at 1800 RPMs, and while doing this burn 3.6 liters per hour of diesel. Sailing around the world, you think more about longevity and less about speed. A Skeg hung rudder is less maneuverable and a bit slower than blades, but I haven't heard of any AMELs losing a rudder. Just ask SV Delos about the strength of an AMEL rudder.
We have a Furuno chart plotter, two completely separate autopilots. We've got all of our wind instruments. And our chain counter, and we have a little garden here going. Javila's trying to garden.
The cockpit control panel houses the anchor wash switch, the windlass control switch, also the main and Genoa control switches. We'll talk about sail control later. Now let's look at the ground tackle aboard Aquarius. We have 70 meters of stainless steel chain connected to a roll bar anchor weighing 30 kilograms. Aquarius was fitted with a 1200 watt Tigris windlass, which can be operated from the bow or can also be operated from the cockpit. I thought you might like to see what it looks like as the anchor is lifted from the bottom and brought back aboard Aquarius. The anchor chain is housed in a watertight compartment in the bow. You have access through the forward cabin. Our secondary anchor is located in the port bow locker. It's identical to the first anchor, except it's 28 kilograms. It's also engraved with Aquarius. Our third anchor is a 9-kilogram Fortress. So now let's take a look at the salon. The salon is the main living quarters downstairs from the cockpit. And again, you're going to see a lot of the work that Sean did on the cushions. He did an amazing job, and again, if you're in Trinidad, look him up because he'll do the same for you. The guy is meticulous.
That is a washing machine. This is actually a small one, but you can load a lot. It has 4 kilos. We got it when we bought the boat in January in Martinique, and it works well.
All Super Maramus hold 1,000 liters of water, and you can check your water level using a mechanical float in the salon. I love the way the door closes on Aquarius. And what amazes me is that more boat manufacturers don't steal some of the great innovations that AMEL thought up. Next up, the 24-volt panel. 3 switches for the interior lights. The next 3 instruments and winches. The batteries are very important on an AMEL, and the battery monitor is something you look at every single day to see the battery level and whether it's charging or discharging. Right now, we're looking good. These are for the 2 refrigerators, one's empty. Top left is the anchor light and 2 deck lights. The knob is to illuminate the cockpit compass. And the next 3 buttons are for the navigation lights. This is the remote switch for the gas bottles. Next is the bilge pump. There's also a float switch in the bilge that'll turn it on as well. And last, the fresh water pump. That's always on. Next up, the 220 panel. So there's the battery charger, the hot water heater, the dishwasher, 3 air conditioning systems, the washing machine, the compressor which is not hooked up, and what else we got here? Oh, we got the plugs, so you can plug things in. We've got the microwave oven. We also have a 1600 watt inverter, which makes 220 volt AC from our 24 volt house batteries. We have a desalator water maker that makes about 50 liters per hour. The water maker runs off 24 volts. It burns about 14 amps while making water. During a nice sunny day, we can make water without even pulling from the batteries. But during the night, it's best to start the generator. So let's start the generator and we'll show you how to start up the water maker. So, generator started, looks great. Let's start up the compressor. You need to wait a few minutes at low pressure before you start to pressurize your membranes. So, we'll pressurize it in a few minutes. So after you pressurize the membrane, it takes about 3 or 4 minutes. Then the indicator light will show you have good clean water, and then you turn the valve so that all the water goes into your holding tank. Aquarius is making water. And yes, we have a working dishwasher. Here's our chart table. We've got a SSB with a Proctor modem, a radar system, all of our wind instruments, a radio, the VHF. Then we've got our GPS and a computer with all the charts for the world. Clocks, barometer, another clock.
So now we'll look at the operation of a Furuno radar. a look and see if we can, what we see. Now we're on
0.25
nautical miles, and what we're seeing here is we're seeing the boat next door, and we're seeing two cats, and then all the other boats, and then the shore along here. And we'll show you what that looks like on the outside.
Moving aft from the chart table, you enter the companionway.
Companionway, extra bedroom. It's not very isolated, it's a walkthrough, but it makes sleeping so good. And actually this is a good place to sleep, because when the boat rocks, this is the least one you can feel the rocking.
Under the bed in the companionway, you'll find the house batteries. And one of the cool features, when you're sleeping in this bed, you can look up through the window and see the helm. You also have the shut-off valve for your diesel, your fuel gauge, and your 24-volt shutdown for your house batteries. As we move aft from the companionway, we enter the master suite.
Okay, master bedroom. Our bathroom. Okay, our bed, our desk, and our closets. And just this is our closet, so they are pretty big. We don't even use them all. It's just, as always, half empty, but we have enough of everything. I told to myself that I can have as many sunglasses as I want and as many swimsuits as I want. So that's my hidden stash. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it.
I think I need a few pair of sunglasses. Next up, the forward suite.
This bed can get much wider. I think as wide as this. There's a little table. Yeah, I never used it, so anyways. And here also we have a very important thing for this boat is a bow thruster, and it's hiding here.
Let's go up top now, take a look on deck. Our first major modification was to add davits with 600 watts of solar. We also put a wind generator on the mizzen mast. Our AB dinghy looks pretty good parked in its little parking spot, along with a 9.8 Daihatsu motor. The life raft is located on the rails near the stern on the port side. It's easily deployed. As we walk around the back of the boat, you see our swim ladder, the dinghy motor crane, 600 watts of solar on our davits, a throw tool for man overboard, that's that yellow horseshoe there, and what we hope to never use is the life raft. Oh, and that's the antenna for the Iridium Go. We have a yoga mat, and we even have a yoga master. And the last room that we're going to take a look at is the engine room, and that is under the terrace. We've already looked at the engine, but let's look at the rest of the stuff in the engine compartment.
Our bilge and our bilge pump is down in here. And on an original Super Maramu, there was only one seawater intake, and that would be this one right here. That one is currently supplying both the engine and the Onan exhaust coolant. It supplies both heads, and it supplies the chain wash. One more seawater intake added by GIMP, and this one here supplies the air conditioning with the seawater coolant.
We also have two Raycor fuel filters.
We've got our water heater. We've got the 7 kilowatt Onan genset. Got the 100 amp 24 volt charger. We have a 1600 watt 24 volt to 220 AC converter. We have our accumulator right over here. We have our chain wash pump right here. This is our desalinator pump, high pressure pump. These two pumps here are for both toilets, front and aft. We have the filters for the desalinator. Here are our membranes for our desalinator. This is a 24 volt pump which supplies all the fresh water on the boat. These two pumps here are saltwater pumps. One of them supplies the air conditioning, and this pump here will supply the coolant for the exhaust on the Onan, because Jim decided it was too difficult to change the impeller on the Onan. So now if that pump goes bad, we just change it, and I have an extra on board. 600 liter stainless steel fuel tank.
Okay, now it's time to put Aquarius in the water and see how she sails. Okay, now let's do a little bit of downwind sailing. Right now we have our Genoa out on port. It's poled out. And we also have a pole for the ballooner. We're pulling up the ballooner now. It's going to lock in up top.
And now I want to show you another cool feature of AMEL's. The ballooner locks to the top with this little mouse. Note that there's two tracks right next to each other right there. Now the mouse goes up the track and then it locks at the top with that little indent. Once it's locked to the top, you pull the halyard out so that you don't have an extra halyard at the top of your mast. So remember, there was two tracks right next to each other. One is for the ballooner and the other is for the other mouse. But this mouse is a little different. This mouse doesn't have the little indent. This mouse goes up the track to free the other mouse, bringing down the ballooner. After we get the ballooner in place and lock it up, we drop the halyard.
Downwind sailing is fairly simple. You put your ballooner up, and if the wind starts picking up, you can actually furl your ballooner right over your Genoa. So you can have as much or as little sail area out as you'd like. And you don't need to leave the cockpit to furl your sails in, so everything is done inside the cockpit.
If you look close right now, you can actually see that we're letting out more sail.
Here's an AMEL flying a mizzen ballooner, which is similar to a Genoa on the mizzen.
Okay, finally, we let the cat out of the bag.
Jim had an asymmetrical spinnaker made for Aquarius. It's the Luxembourg flag, and we got the chance to fly it when Jim was there, and he loved it.
So now we got everything going.
Yeah, we had some light air, so I threw up all the sails to see what she could do. Let's look at how to operate the mizzen. That's the outhaul, that's the mizzen sheet, and this is the furler. And at the back you see the mizzen travel. Here I'm going to show you how to take the mizzen out, pull it back in. Everything is done from inside the cockpit, so you're safe throughout the process.
Our sails are all made by Q-Sail. And Q-Sail was the company I picked because Q-Sail only needed my hull number and they could make sails that fit perfectly because I wanted just stock AMEL sails. I didn't want anything special. I've been so happy I picked Q-Sails to make our sails.
Now let's talk about the main. The main sheet is on the mizzen mast inside the cockpit. You can tighten the main or loosen the main from the cockpit, and it's on an electric winch. Now let's head out to the main mast. You can see the electric motor for the outhaul. This is for the furler. And here you can see the traveler for the main. And you adjust the traveler from inside the cockpit. Yep, that's the main halyard right there. Here's the main outhaul, and here's the main furler.
To take out the main, first you have to be heading directly into the wind.
So with two buttons and inside the cockpit, you just pull out the main.
Come on, Dad.
Keep going, keep going. Sounds
So we're taking out the main and Javilla looks very proud. Now let's look at the Genoa controls, the furler, the port winch, and the starboard winch.
Alright, you guys ready?
Yep.
Alright, coming out.
Stuck. Okay, I'm gonna lock it in.
Alright, then move over to my hand.
Just outside the cockpit, you have the adjustments for the Genoa leads. You can move them forward for downwind sailing, or you move them back if you're going upwind. Aquarius has a very long track. Long track. Longer track. Hey, where are you going?
it.